a major outage of Amazon Web Services rendered large parts of the internet unusable earlier this week, breaking hundreds of apps, websites, and games that rely on the service. Brace yourselves, guys, because here's a non-comprehensive list of,
Not even close to comprehensive.
Pretty small web services you might have heard of that were impacted. Alexa, Ring. Okay, that all makes sense. Those are Amazon services. Reddit, Snapchat, Wordle, Roblox, Amazon. Okay, that one. Many major banks, Ring, Robinhood, HBO Max, Venmo,
Ring
Epic
again.
Games, McDonald's, Fortnite, Lyft, Hulu, Disney Plus, Roku, Signal, Stream, Reddit, Zoom, Pokemon Go,
again.
PlayStation Network, AI services such as Perplexity, and services from AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, along with many others around the world. As much as a third of internet sites and services rely in some way on Amazon Web Services, better known as AWS. Now, Luke, can we take a moment to just kind of pause from this and talk about how bat crap crazy that is? Not because we are giving an American mega corporation so much power and putting them in a position where they are the keystone of the entire freaking online lives that we live.
Well, combine it with Cloudflare, and
Amazon,
it's like even crazier.
But because Amazon is really expensive.
Yeah.
Well, how is a third of the internet using AWS? It's so expensive.
As much as it's really expensive, nobody got fired for using AWS. Also, AWS is really expensive for mostly specifically the use case that we had. And it's less expensive for that now. It's still really expensive, though. If you're doing small transaction-y kind of things on it and you're doing it efficiently, it can be kind of all right. It's also expensive to have engineers on staff managing your own servers. Like how things are expensive is questionable. Someone said Amazon is the new IBM. It's like, kinda. A lot of places just do that by default. A lot of these services as well, like one part of it would work on AWS. It wouldn't be like their entire thing is on AWS. Like we actually technically this stream for Floatplane is coming through AWS.
No, heavens no.
Yeah. So like but the vast majority of our service is not literally only that portion, because IVS their whole like Twitch thing is pretty easy to use. So
yeah, so in a nutshell, AWS does provide a legitimately good service that can be affordable. And I mean, honestly, I still remember when we were first starting up Floatplane, and even in the years preceding that, what a big deal it was to be AWS certified, which basically, as far as, you know, from my conversations with you, basically meant that people went to Amazon was pretty much making it so affordable and so easy to develop services with AWS that being AWS certified pretty much meant that, you know, you could color in a coloring book compared to, you know, the old way. And I remember you not really caring very much about that when people were applying.
Well, it was just so much easier to get than many other things, and like there's a big gap between someone who can build things in AWS and someone who can build things in AWS efficiently, and that is like incredibly important.
Right, and then I remember you saying like this is basically Amazon's power play to have everybody certified in spending money at Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's going to kill like and there's certainly something to be said for standards. You know, standards are good, but it's going to kill the just like boutique website, boutique hosting and data serving businesses and skills. It's going to kill those skills, and we're going to be left with this world where everything just runs on AWS because it was so. Even then, it wasn't affordable in all cases, but in many cases, it was very affordable. And the people getting certified and the people implementing these services weren't the ones spending the money. So for the things that were expensive, or once they ramped up the pricing, there'd be no incentive for the people who maintain these services to move off of AWS, especially if it's the only thing that they know. And it feels like this outage is pretty much the Doomsday scenario, or at least a hint of what a Doomsday scenario like you imagined might look like. Is that kind of fair to say? I mean, this is a like literally 10-year-old conversation at this point, but
yeah, I mean, this is pretty much exactly it. I actually thought it was going to be even more. I think like more recently, over the last few years, some places have been going back to their own managed stuff, which I don't know if it's hard to remember back then, but I think I would have expected that to not be happening.
We did talk about that. We both wanted it. We both didn't understand why on-prem was not. It wasn't just not really used as much. It was like looked down upon.
Oh yeah.
It was shunned.
Yeah.
Like I got crapped on
Why
for
are you
having
doing it the
on-site
stupid old way?
archival storage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are you a caveman?
Yeah.
You know, and so I think we both wanted on-prem to be a thing.
I definitely
but
wanted
I don't think either
on-prem
of
to
us
be a
had
thing.
hope.
No, I don't think so at all. And I'm happy that it is kind of coming back. And I don't think this outage is like why it's coming back, to be clear.
No.
A very
I think it's to do with money.
Rare case outage is not what people are running away from. I think it's money. I think it's control.
And privacy.
Exactly. Privacy, stuff like that. It's interesting. But yeah, this outage was crazy. Yeah. One interesting loop is, if I remember correctly, when Pokemon Go first went, because that was one of the things mentioned in this list. When Pokemon Go first went live, their server struggled, and AWS like tweeted or something, and was like, "Hey, we can like help you with that."
Yep.
So I guess they figured something out there, because I didn't actually know they had started working with them.
NCIX's weekly specials during major events like Boxing Day, which for those of you not in Canada or the UK or Australia, was kind of Canada's Black Friday until Black Friday kind of made its way into the international space. Like every Boxing Day, our site would just be completely unusable, like sometimes for a very long period of time.
Oh, I remember.
And oh yeah. I wasn't saying it for you. I know. You know.
I found some packed, like, you know, we've been moving stuff around constantly to get out of the way of certain types of work and whatnot. And I found a few boxes that had NCX barcode labels on them, and I was like, hell yeah, we're back.
Anyway, so we like 1 year like magically solved it. And when I found out that our solution was to use AWS, I was like losing my mind, because I was sitting here going like, if this is not a sign of the end times, I don't know what is. We are literally hiring, like paying large amounts of money, because this is during, you know, peak hours, and we were using more than just, you know, hosting. I think we were using like DDoS protection services from them and stuff like that. Like basically it was a whole AWS package that we were buying to in a desperate attempt to keep our website up. And I was like, we are cooked, because like, yes, obviously part of being a retailer is having the right stock, right? Having the right pricing, having the relationship with the customer, you know, the email newsletter list, you know, all those things that make you a retailer. But part of being an online retailer is having a modern tech deployment that allows you to be competitive in the modern space. And, you know, at this time, you know, not only am I sitting reading about, you know, Amazon's super advanced mega warehouses and Prime and whatever, right? Remember, this is relatively early days. They were just kind of moving into Canada. But now I'm sitting here going, our infrastructure, our web infrastructure, which is our whole thing, nobody can access us without it, is so bad, it's so outdated, so broken, that we're literally hiring the competitor that is going to move in and eat our lunch to desperately keep our website alive for just a little bit longer. It was It was such a moment for me. It's like what could I do? What could I compare that to? It would be like freaking, Sam's Club, having to lease floor space in Costco in order to sell bulk pianos or whatever. Like I'm trying to, you get what I mean though, right?
No, for sure. It's one of the weirdest things with Kick for me, right? It's like,
It would be like Lowe's buying their inventory from Home Depot. Like, what is happening
Kick gets
right now?
effectively their entire site from Amazon.
Yeah,
It's so interesting to me because they're the same business model basically. Like it's not exactly, but it's so similar. Yeah, and then that Twitch is basically not making money, so it's like what's happening? I can guarantee you IVS is making money, which is Amazon's like live streaming thing. And then I believe they're also getting other services from Amazon as well. So like, they're definitely making money off of, like, I have speculated. I used to have a bunch of friends at Twitch and they all retired now because they made that Amazon stock money. But if I had someone to talk to, I would ask them this. But at a certain point, the whole Twitch doesn't make money thing, I almost wonder if it like doesn't really matter, because that's what they're using to keep the tech stack nice and fresh to sell to other people anyways. So like, whatever.
It's just their own internal test vehicle.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, there's a random scandal over a hot tub nip slip or,
sure,
a little bit of, messaging people in Discord that probably shouldn't have been done, and we can just kind of blinders on, ignore this thing, and test our technology. And if it ultimately doesn't work out, then I guess whatever.
Because like
I don't think it's a terrible hypothesis.
They still need a thing to hold up and go like, look, we can do a lot of this and really well. And them having that in their own control is like the best advertisement they could have. And then when people talk about Twitch, they still talk about Twitch as its own island. It's very rare for like the news cycle to be like, Amazon's Twitch has this so-and-so scandal. They just say Twitch. So they're still pretty insulated from the scandals, and it's an incredible advertisement for a very expensive service.
Like, hear me out on this. Would William Osman have done Sauce Plus with us if we didn't have Floatplane?
Yeah, no.
And I think, the answer is obvious.
Well, I don't think so.
Your own,
I
don't think so.
It would have been really weird.
I wouldn't have believed that we had the credibility to do it if we didn't have our own test vehicle.
Yeah.
Makes sense. We got about 20% of the way through the notes on this topic, so I'm going to keep going. Amazon's subsequent investigation into the outage determined that it impacted customer applications over 3 distinct periods. So starting just before midnight Pacific time, Sunday, Amazon Web Services began experiencing increased DynamoDB API error rates in the US East 1 region. DynamoDB is a serverless, fully managed NoSQL database that powers many high-traffic Amazon properties, including Alexa, Amazon.com, and all Amazon fulfillment centers. It also serves AWS customers, and when it's functional, routinely handles more than 1 billion requests per hour.
Damn!
The root cause was found to be a latent defect in the service's automatic DNS management. I was about to say exactly what Jordan wrote in the notes. It's always DNS. Like I can practically picture Seinfeld being like Newman, DNS. My arch rival, DNS issues. Sometimes it can even be intentional DNS issues. We're going on another sidetrack here, going on the side quest. So I have this issue when I fly where I like to use multiple devices on the internet. Sometimes I have my laptop up and I want to play a game with my controller and my bigger screen. And I need to be able to validate that Steam's online because I forgot to launch it before I took off. Whatever, that doesn't matter. The point is, I might also want to have my phone texting on WhatsApp with my wife at the same time. But what I don't like to do is pay for 2 separate internet connections on the same flight. It's like, bro, you already got my $18 or whatever for like 4 hours of internet. That is not something I'm going to do 2 times. It doesn't matter how much I could afford it. It doesn't matter if I was literally a billionaire. I would not pay for internet twice on one flight. I simply won't. It's the principle of the thing. So Windows actually has, and I don't know when they added this, or at least when it got so convenient, but Windows has a feature to use your laptop as a mobile hotspot. And what's really cool about it is, my understanding is there is a way to do this on Android as well, because I've talked about this before and someone pointed out you can do it on Android as well, but I certainly haven't found a very convenient way to do it, where you can share a Wi-Fi connection over Wi-Fi. So on Windows, you can have your Wi-Fi internet connection shared over Wi-Fi. Like, internet connection sharing has been a thing like 5 ever. If you had a wired connection, you could share it over Wi-Fi, or if you had a wireless connection, you could share it over. I think you could do like Bluetooth and even like infrared back in the day. There's all kinds of stuff. But anyway, the point is, I've been using this for years. So I would like plug my laptop when I didn't even want to use my laptop at all, because I would buy internet for my laptop. I would like turn off sleep when closing the lid, plug it into the power outlet by my seat, and just like put it on the floor, and then keep using the internet off of my laptop hotspot, then pull it up when I want to use my laptop. So I could use it to have a whole hotspot for me and my homies on the plane. It's been great. But over the last, I don't know, and it depends on the airline. Some of them caught on to it pretty quick, and some of them seem to have caught on to it a little slower. Over the last couple of years, maybe, they have started to wise up, and they've been doing something to make it so that and I'm going to get the terminology wrong here because I only had to look this up because I was trying to solve this problem on a stupid flight. But basically, you know, the little internet status indicator in the system tray on Windows?
Okay. Yeah.
Like the little, you know, globe, or the little,
yeah.
The little like Wi-Fi thing. Okay. They were doing something to make that status indicator not detect that you have an internet connection. And when they do that, a whole bunch of stuff doesn't work. So WhatsApp, the Windows WhatsApp client doesn't work. Windows Update obviously doesn't work. I can totally understand why they wouldn't want anybody, you know, performing Windows updates on a plane. And maybe that was a big part of their motivation for implementing this. But any service that requires your computer to know that it is online doesn't work. A web browser works. You can be online all you want, but if the computer doesn't know it, there's certain services that won't work, and mobile hotspot is one of them. So I spent probably, and this is really dumb, but a previous flight that I was on, I spent probably an hour of my like 3-hour flight pass just trying to overcome this obstacle because it just had become kind of an interesting challenge.
Sure.
And I didn't manage to do it because my Google Foo simply wasn't strong enough. But on this last flight, I managed to do it with a little bit of help from some old friends. David Pankratz, who hasn't appeared on camera too much. He was in the Forte VR headset video recently, but yeah, he's super cool guy, very technical.
Scrapyard Wars, if you want to see a bunch of him.
Oh yeah, right. Obviously, he was on my team in Scrapyard Wars. Anyway, David's super cool, and he pinged me. He sent me in the right direction. He's like, "Can you get here by any chance?" www.msftncsi.com/ncsi.txt. So I had already found this weird GitHub that I had linked in my Reddit post asking people to kind of help me with this, that claimed to bypass this issue by setting up like a local server essentially that runs on your own machine and tricks Windows into pinging that to check for connectivity. So it'll just always think it's connected because you can always be connected to yourself. But David sort of linked me up with the terminology, and as soon as I tried to go to that URL, it redirected to the airline's captive portal sign-in page, and I was like, DNS. So basically, they're doing some funky stuff with DNS that makes it so that you can't access the NCSI network connection, whatever the service is called. And long story short, I finally managed to fix it. And if you guys ever run into this, what you have to do is you have to switch over to passive mode. So normally, the default for Windows is to actively ping that specific URL. And I'm sure there's a really good technical reason why you would want to ping a specific URL in order to determine if your internet is on versus just more broadly sort of recognizing that the internet is on by just, seeing if there's internet traffic coming in. Like I remember back in the day, like you probably remember this too, Luke, you'd run into situations all the time where the indicator looks great, right? It's like you're connected to the internet, but you just totally wouldn't have an internet connection.
Yeah.
But I was reminded of this topic because I was thinking like, dude, what would happen if that service went down? If Microsoft NCSI went down, like, and everyone's computers just were connected to the internet, but didn't know they were connected to the internet, dude. That would be wild. Okay, so hold on. I found my post on Reddit where I explained the fix. So yeah, you need to disable active probing, which, and it's always a registry hack, is just a single registry value that you switch off for active probing, and it switches on passive probing, which does exactly what I would have intuited is the better way to do this, where it just kind of monitors for internet traffic once in a while, and if it detects it, it goes, yep, you're connected to the internet, and then turns on the little icon that says you're connected to the internet and allows you to use whatever services you want. So that was it's very early, and I'm in another time zone, and my brain's not really functioning correctly, meandering way of telling the story of I can now use my mobile hotspot on the plane. And also, if that service from Microsoft ever goes down, I'm good.
Yeah.
You can hit me with a cool story, bro. I think I deserve it.
It's a little bit of a cool story, bro. That is interesting, though. Like it is. This is like one of the twigs at the bottom of the pile of things that's keeping the internet alive right now. And we saw one of the twigs break for a small period of time. And the impact of that. There are other ones. I mentioned Cloudflare earlier. This sounds like kind of in a different vein, but one of them. But it's interesting how fragile this thing that like an enormous percentage of a lot of people's lives relies on. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
People have some comments on the whole probing thing. Panda says they're doing something similar with cruise lines too. Yep, that totally makes sense. Ados says some apps don't use the Windows API and do their own check, but many do use the Microsoft method. Yep, so a lot of things work, a lot of things flippin' don't. Oh man, Steam had a bug for a little while. I think they fixed it maybe about a month ago for me. But it was driving me absolutely crazy where Steam wouldn't know that it was connected to the internet unless I was in desktop mode. Like it wouldn't know in big picture. So I went a span of like at least a month without not being in big picture on my Ally. And so I didn't get an update to a new version of the tape to tape, like pre-beta. Like the feedback build that I was on. And so I kept giving them feedback that was like based on an old build. And I had no idea because my Steam just like wasn't connected to the internet for over a month. And
what the heck?
So I didn't know there were any updates to the game. And then the second I flipped out into desktop mode, it updated, and I was like, oh crap, sorry guys, this is embarrassing, but I've been running an ancient build while I've been like sending all of these feedback.
That would have driven me nuts, dude.
Dude, I know. I felt so bad. But I didn't know.
Oh,
I had no idea.
I can't reproduce this problem.
And then I looked it up, and it was a thing. Like people just, they're like, oh yeah, the fix is just to switch to desktop mode. I'm like, that is so dumb. Why would being in big picture mode make it so that Steam doesn't know that it's connected to the internet?
That is weird.
That's wild.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. If anyone has any insight into why that would have been, wow. would love to hear about it.
I just immediately jumped to like, was that the easiest way for them to just make it so that you don't download in the background? It shouldn't be. They have other ways to handle that.
Valve,
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah.
There's no way. Oh, Off-Brand Law says, I work with an engineer who worked on Big Picture. I'll get back to you neck week.
Cool.
Real. Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Like I would love.
It seems
I'd
odd.
love to know why.
It seems very
I'd
odd.
love to know why. But I like seriously. I looked it up. This was not just me. This was a thing. Sorry, I shall continue, and we shall actually get through this topic at some point. The
Cool story.
DynamoDB issue also impacted EC2, Amazon's on-demand computing service, resulting in increased API errors, increased latency, and failure to launch new instances in the US East 1 region. The problems with EC2 impacted the network load balancer and all services that use network load balancer due to failing node health checks. All these issues, of course, caused problems for other dependent Amazon services, with operations only returning to fully normal by about 4 a.m. Tuesday. Woo! If you enjoy massive walls of tiny text, you can check out Amazon's post-event summary. Dan, if you want to throw that in the chat, that'd be kind of cool. CNN Business reported that the financial impact of this outage could be in the hundreds of billions. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. That seems like it might just be one of those like, and AI could gain sentience and take over the world. Like, yeah, maybe, but also like we're never going to be able to measure this.
You know, it could have been more than $100 million.
Yeah,
It could have been.
it could have been. Some of the less serious impacts, owners of 8 Sleep smart beds were unable to change position or temperature of their beds, which is ridiculous and something that Luke and I have talked about on the WAN show before. There is no reason whatsoever that 2 devices on the same Wi-Fi should have to relay through a cloud server to talk to each other when they are both just devices you flipping own.
The only
like
possible
a mattress
reason
topper.
is an excess of control from the company that you bought it from.
Don't forget about an excess of data collection, Luke. You've forgotten the other possible reason.
Yeah, true. Maybe both. I think in this case it's both.
Anyway, in response, 8 Sleep has added an outage mode to their beds, which should just be the default operating mode. But whatever, I guess this is progress. Some Slack users found themselves unable to leave audio conversations. That's potentially really awkward, but also pretty funny.
I had that problem. It was actually totally fine because everyone else was able to leave. But yeah.
So you just does Slack give you that forever alone message like Discord does? Hey, it appears you're in this voice chat by yourself. That's pretty sad. Also, we're gonna turn off our servers now.
We're gonna
Bye.
disconnect. No, but it plays
Yeah.
it plays like lobby music.
Oh, okay.
And it's like actually pretty great lobby music. So it was pretty chill,
Okay.
to be honest.
Cool. Premier League soccer officials were forced to manually confirm offside calls when their AWS-based semi-automated offside technology was unavailable.
Oh, that's funny.
Starbucks users were forced to talk to a human to order their drinks.
That's probably the worst outage out of all of them.
And Wordle and Duolingo lost their minds about broken streaks. It looks like the streaks were maintained by the respective devs, though. Or it looks, yeah.
you said
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, the discussion question is the first thing I said, basically.
Yeah, so we can move on.
Sure.
Yes, we are dependent on a small handful of services, and yes, it's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing.
And to give the discussion question some credit, the AWS plus Cloudflare combo is a particularly devastating, two support beams to just chop right at the knees if you wanted to hurt the internet.